Welcome.
On the porch.
Welcome. You're listening to LeeTV right now on WXJM, Harrisonburg 88.7 on your FM dial. It is 7:05 right now on my clock, which means it is time for episode 3. LeeTV, I always usually have a co-host with me, and today I have one of my best friends, Peter Bell.
Hi guys, my name is Peter Bell. Yes, I am one of Lee's best friends. We've been friends since we were 14? 14.
Early
15.
high school.
Early high school. I think it was freshman year.
Freshman year.
I remember Lee ate a habanero in front of me.
I did?
You did. One of our friends brought a habanero, and Lee ate the entire thing right in front of me and cried.
What was like the first interaction I had with you, Peter? I don't really remember.
That was it. That was the first day of high school. It was one of the first day of high schools. You literally walked up to me and said, "My name's Lee." We sat down at the table, and then you ate a habanero. I was like, I love this guy.
And then I cried.
And then he cried.
Well, Peter, I'm really stoked to have you on my show.
Thank you for having me.
You do a podcast yourself, actually, so you have experience with this.
Yeah. So I do the Escalation 1985 podcast. I'm a developer for Escalation 1985, which is a video game. It's a first-person shooter set during the Cold War. I do particle systems and basically visual effects, like, what you see, like an explosion or a smoke grenade or anything like that. I do work in that.
That is cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So I do use Houdini, Unreal Engine 4. If anyone out there does use any of those programs.
So you're a game developer for this upcoming game, Escalation 1985.
Yep.
And you recently went to Indigo.
Yep, I went to Indigo X
Indigo
in the Netherlands. I flew out there for a weekend. I got to see Utrecht, Netherlands, which is about 30 minutes south of Amsterdam, 30-minute train ride.
Nice.
Amazing trip. Met a lot of amazing people. Got to meet some of the big wigs in the industry, like with Epic Games.
Some of the big cats. Whoa, Epic Games.
Deep Silver.
It's kind of epic, dude.
Yeah, no, it was insane. Probably one of the greatest experiences of my life, to say the least. So.
Good to hear. I'm glad this is all, it's coming full circle. It's good to see the progress you're making on it.
Thank you.
On Escalation.
Thank you.
I love it too, man.
I started when I was in high school, just with basically a group of people, and then it took off from there. It started as basically, just a group of friends, and then eventually we made our own company. We became more legit. We started getting our name out there, and then, things are looking up, I'd say.
Good, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know you were going to the Netherlands this summer, and then once I found out, I was like, dude, that's freaking cool, dude.
Yeah, it was
pretty epic.
It was an insane experience. That's all I can say about it.
Okay, so we got a couple topics here on the show. I like to focus the show mainly around music and music influences for me and my friends. Like, what have they grown up listening to? Like, what are they listening to currently? And you, Peter, you are a very obscure music listener. You like sorry, I don't want to explain to everybody your stuff. You can do that. What do you like?
Yeah, sure. So it all kind of started with I have a very deep fascination with history.
So history enthusiast.
Yeah. So I do reenacting. So
oh, dude, cool stories on that.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stories. Lee's actually been to a reenactment with me, but
that was insane.
Yeah, I do World War II, Vietnam, Cold War, pretty much a lot of different Cold War conflicts. Mostly, I'm mostly interested with the Soviet Union and then the Russian Federation up into the 90s and stuff like that. But
now your game is also based on
it's
Cold War.
So it's set in 1985, and it's basically the Cold War goes hot.
Yeah.
In 1985 in Europe, so this Warsaw Pact, which was East Germany, Soviet Union, and NATO, United States, West Germany, countries like that have a full armed conflict in it, and it obviously it does not end well. And I think it's not so much of a I don't want to steer off topic, but it's not meant to be a Call of Duty arena shooter. A lot of it is education, saying okay, we're in a day and age where we're not particularly in a safe place in terms of our country's, relationships with, Russia and the United States. And it's kind of a way to say, okay, like, this could happen it's possible. We have the arsenal to be able to do it. Let's figure out a way to prevent it. And and that's what I really like to focus on, just the education portion of it. But it is also fun. It's a video game. There's going to be some great visuals, some great gameplay. But anyway, coming back to music.
Music, yeah.
A lot of my music tastes started when I was little, and I started listening to 80s music, like Tears for Fears, obviously, Huey Lewis and the News. I was kind of obsessed with it. I had a Walkman that was my dad's, I believe, from the 80s or 90s, I can't remember, and I had a bunch of little cassette tapes, and I remember I had, cassette tapes and CDs. I had a CD Walkman and a cassette Walkman, and then
cool.
That eventually led into, other more obscure music, which was, in other portions of the world at that time in the 1980s. And I think it's really interesting to see how, a lot of artists in the Soviet Union in the 80s took a lot of influence from artists in the United States, and you can kind of see that with, the rise of synthwave music and with artists like Alliance. I don't know if any of y'all heard of those.
I have not.
Yeah.
What is Alliance?
Alliance is they're a synth pop band from the 80s, but they make a lot of melodic stuff.
Okay. Are they from Russia or?
Yeah, they're from they started in the Soviet Union.
Cool.
And I think,
That's cool.
in the 80s, and one of their most popular songs is Nazar. If any of you are interested in that. Nazar. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's fun. I have a bunch of songs here. I'm gonna butcher the names to them, but.
So Peter, you're really into 80s synthwave, like Russian music. No, that
not just Russian, like
like European.
Yeah. German, Yugoslavian.
Yeah.
And a lot of that starts. So I'll be listening to like Yugoslavian synth pop, and then I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to do a living history impression, or I want to do a reenactment of that. So I do like Yugoslavian People's Army or something like that, and then it kind of just evolves. So a lot of it does start with music. So music is very important to me. So.
Very influential in your reenactment.
Yeah.
So we did go to a reenactment. You want to talk about that a little bit? We went to
We did.
What did we go to?
So we went to Enfield, North Carolina, and what it was Operation Magistral, and it was a tactical. It was a blank fire and airsoft tactical reenactment that was set in 1987 during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. I don't know if some of you are probably aware that the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979.
They did. I knew that, but like going into it, I didn't know nearly as much as I should.
I mean, it's
on the history of it.
It's good to have people there that are interested. Like obviously, there's the more experienced veterans of the actual war, but reenacting veterans who have done, an immeasurable amount of research on the war and on the topic and on the equipment. And it's just fascinating to see these guys they're willing to teach people who are interested, and they're willing to get people involved, and that's how it kind of starts. And it's good that you were there. And you had a moderate amount of interest in it, and I'm sure you became more interested in after it. But no, we were basically put in the role of basically the 345th Independent Guard Airborne Regiment, which are basically like paratroopers.
So we were Soviet Union.
Yeah, so we were Soviet paratroopers. They gave Lee. I had my own equipment and uniform and stuff like that, but they gave Lee his equipment. One of the guys shaved his head
because my hair wasn't.
His hair, he had a full head of hair, and he came in, and he's like, and my, one of the platoon leaders said, you're not coming in here with that head of hair. It's gonna look totally incorrect.
Hey man, devoted to the cause.
So they sat him in the chair, and he took the clippers out, and they shaved the sides of his head, and it
made me look like I had mange for a week.
He looked like he had mange. He looked like a fresh conscript.
Oh man.
But it was a lot of fun. I remember
so much fun.
One of my favorite stories. This was the highlight of the event for me. It was about 12 o'clock at night. It was late. Yeah. And our platoon sergeant comes up to us and said, our platoon leader, they call him the Praporshek, comes up to us and says, "Okay, Peter Lee, you got to sneak into a village and grab us some dinner." And I was like, okay, something's gonna happen.
Secret mission, dude.
This is not good. We're gonna face some opposition here. So, and by the way, we're fighting the Mujahideen, which were basically Islamic warriors that were fighting for Afghans' independence from the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk down this path into the village, and we can see there's like a whole little bazaar set up, like a little like a shop, like shops lined up. And earlier that day we were there talking with the locals, and all the locals are like people dressing up, pretending to be Afghan dushman or other like Afghan locals, and it was really immersive. And
It's a live action role play.
It's
really.
It's LARPing. It's LARPing.
Yeah.
It's a little more. I wouldn't say it's more sophisticated than LARPing, but I guess it's like
just a different form of it.
It's a different form of LARPing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, LARPing.
And we see a pot of food boiling.
Yeah.
On a little campfire.
Yeah.
And Lee comes up and I said, let's go get that pot of food. And there's a bunch of watermelons sitting on a table and stuff like that. And we can hear all these guys talking, so we're trying to be really quiet. And we go up, I grab the pot of food, Lee grabs a watermelon, and all of a sudden we hear all this shouting, we hear all this commotion, and we hear a bunch of gunshots go off. And
No, man. Some guy like exits the barn like right next to the T-Bazaar, right where we're at, like stealing his food. And then he screams at us. He says, "Assalamu alaikum."
Oh yeah, he says "Assalamu alaikum."
I didn't know what that meant, so I just started running.
Assalamu alaikum is I believe it's peace be with you. My Arabic is it's peace be with you, but it's like a greeting. Or it's a very common saying. But he shouted that, and we didn't know what to respond, so we ran.
Booked it.
Lee was hit.
He fired off a round, and I got hit.
I dropped the watermelon. I ran with the food down the path.
Peter, you left me, man.
I left him
me to die.
I left him to die, unfortunately.
Literally, Peter like runs down this. He just leaves me as I'm bleeding out on the ground, and then the person who shot me gets his buddies, and they come and they loot my still bleeding corpse. They take my shoes. They take
his
everything.
Shoes. He took his weapon. They took everything.
They took everything.
And then, of course, after the whole battle was over, he was able to respawn, I guess, quote unquote.
Another day.
Yeah, just another day in Afghanistan.
Okay, well, that was a fun topic, bro.
Yeah, of course. So you want to get to the the juicy
meat,
part,
the meat and cheddar
the
here,
the steak and potatoes,
the ice cream on my cake. Okay, actually, let me talk about something really important. Okay.
Sure.
So today is September 19th. We are in September, and it is the year 2019. So the date is 9/19/19. Tomorrow will be 9/20/19, which means it's the Area 51 raid.
The Area 51 raid.
Okay. This has been a long time in coming. I've been waiting probably my whole life for this moment right here.
I have been absolutely obsessed with aliens almost my entire life.
Aliens are cool, dude.
Aliens are very cool. I've just been absolutely fascinated with the idea that we're not alone in the universe.
Now, do you think people are actually going to run up to Area 51 tomorrow?
It's being live streamed. That's all I know.
Really?
Yes.
Yo, okay.
It's being live streamed. I'm going to be watching it live, but
I would love to watch it live. Where can the people at home watch this live?
I'd assume on Facebook or on YouTube. Like, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely everywhere, and you're not going to have a problem finding out where you can watch it, but the thing that kind of bothers me about this is that Area 51 is a military installation, and the fact that I know there are going to be some people stupid enough to run past the border.
Will they shoot you?
Absolutely, they have every right to shoot you. And if if hundreds of people are running over the border of the site, it's not going to be good. That's all I can say.
But
it says, it's a military installation. If you trespass, they're allowed to use deadly force.
Yeah, but how are we going to find out what's inside?
We're not.
That's what the raid's all about.
So
dude.
This is I've always been interested in Area 51, and I could start from the beginning,
okay.
where it all starts. How Area 51? Well, it wasn't Roswell. Roswell is a piece of it. Yeah, about the Roswell crash in 1947, but Area 51 became known because of an individual named Bob Lazar. I don't know if any of you know who Bob Lazar is.
Oh, it's Star Child?
No,
that
it's not Star
Star
Child.
Child?
You're
Okay.
thinking of
Yo, Star Child is crazy.
Star Child is Stan Romanek. You're thinking of Stan
Oh,
Romanek.
okay, we'll get to him in a second.
Stan Romanek is an interesting individual, and I think he's a bit of a fabricator. But Bob Lazar is actually probably the most compelling, person to come out about Area 51. I mean, he literally came out and said Area 51 was real before people even knew it was real.
Yeah.
And basically, so he was originally, in his childhood, he was obsessed with propulsion. He was obsessed with rocket engines and things like that, and jet engines. And he actually made his own jet-powered bike in his garage. And, that eventually led into making jet-powered cars and stuff like that. And he loved propulsion. He graduated from MIT. He was an extremely smart individual, very, very, colorful background. And one day he was picked up by an employer that worked in the Nevada test site, basically in a propulsions laboratory, that said, "Would you like to come and work on a project with us?" And he said, "Okay."
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
just casually, don't know who he's going to be working for, but he said the money was good, and he had to go through a whole screening process, a whole he said he was like 2 months work of background checks and a whole vetting process. Like, that's a lot of. He said he had to go through just thousands of pages of personal information about him, and even his
Okay.
It's just it was an insane amount of paperwork. But anyway,
What were we on again? Bob Lazar?
yeah, Bob Lazar.
That's right.
Yeah, well, the Stan Romanek thing is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get to that later, but so eventually he got this job at this test site, and they brought him into this place he claimed was it was called S4, and S4 is actually a part of Area 51. It's south of, so you've got the actual runway and the test site.
Yeah.
You've got Groom Lake, and then you've got S4, which sits just below this, which is actually, they claimed it was
The secret.
he claimed it was the underground base that's a
Yeah.
part of Area 51 that is not. They're not admitting that S4 is real. They admit that Area 51 is real, but not S4.
Oh, yeah. Area 51 is just the cover-up.
It's the name that they give to the site that it is, but they don't exactly admit to what is going on in there. So
Yeah.
they're not saying, "Oh, we keep secret aircraft or UFOs in here." They're just saying it's a military installation, and you're not allowed to come in. And if you do,
We'll shoot you.
yeah. But so
That's why I think this Area 51 raid, like, people should take it, like, seriously. Like,
Absolutely.
And actually overthrow Area 51. That
well,
would be,
I don't that's
know.
going to result in a lot of unnecessary death. If it did happen, I think we
if
as
there's a peaceful way we could do that, just
Yeah.
to be like, yo, just like, we just want to peep it out.
Our government doesn't have the right to lie to us. That's not what obviously the United States
Dude,
government does lie
The
to us.
government
and
lies to us all the time.
Yeah, which
All
shouldn't be
the
the case,
time.
but in their perspective, it's to keep us safe. But we have the right to know if we're alone in the universe or not. But to get back to Bob Lazar, he was taken into S4. He was shown these craft, and he was said, "Okay, you're going to be focusing on how to understand the propulsion system of this craft. We're not going to tell you where it's from. We're not going to tell you anything else about it. You're just going to try to investigate the propulsion system." And Barry was his partner in this, a guy named Barry. And Barry was the only one he was allowed to talk to. He wasn't allowed to talk to any of the other scientists. And he was basically given this little, he was allowed to go inside the craft occasionally. This is what he's claiming. I'm not saying this is the truth, but that he was allowed to go inside this craft. He was allowed to, try to figure out exactly what made this thing hover and, actually be able to move without, a combustion engine or, any kind of conventional propulsion system that we currently have as humans.
So, this is all, like, on a documentary, right?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
I mean, if you've watched the Joe Rogan podcast, Bob Lazar was on one of the most recent episodes.
Oh, man, I gotta check it out.
But there's also a fabulous documentary on Netflix about the life of Bob Lazar and, it kind of goes through what I'm saying now in greater detail. I'm, just for the sake of time, I'm kind of brushing over some of the details. But,
Didn't he try to reverse engineer that spacecraft that was in the Area 51, and he actually found out how to do that?
Yeah, that was their job, was to try to reverse engineer it and try to figure out. But basically, his analogy was that if you take a nuclear reactor and took it back to the Victorian era, and you set this in front of these guys and you said, okay, you're going to, here's this thing, it's creating energy, try to figure out how it works. Obviously, they wouldn't know what made it work. They don't know the concept of nuclear fission or anything like that, or of a nuclear reaction and how it actually creates energy. And they would poke and prod at this thing, and it'd eventually start killing them, and they'd blame it on demons or whatever they believed in back then. Yeah, and eventually in the 80s, he came out and said, Area 51 exists. This is what I did on these alien, supposed alien crafts. I had, a ton of experience with this. I had, my friend Barry there with me. He actually, the reason he did come out was in the 80s on a news report by, I think it was ABC, was because he was actually filming this craft. Because he knew the scheduled flight times for this thing, because he was working on it, and he had to, so he brought some friends out to the test site, and he knew exactly when it was going to fly. He told his friends, his friends came out and said, yeah, we did see this thing, and it came out exactly when Bob said it would. And they filmed it with a VHS camcorder, and the footage is out there. You can go on YouTube and find, if you just look up, Bob Lazar, UFO footage. But
that is cool.
And it turns out
Aliens,
when he came out in the 80s, he talked about, so the whole idea behind the propulsion system was with element 115, which is ununpentium, and which everyone was like, you can't add another element to the periodic table. That's ridiculous. And then in 2005, ununpentium was put on the periodic table because they discovered it. The current one they have now is not a decaying element. It's stable, but who knows what could happen later on down the road. They could find it as a decaying particle.
Hey man, all I'm saying is I hope we get hoverboards if we invade
just
Area
Back
51.
to the Future.
I hope if we actually do it, we unlock some crazy technology.
Yeah.
Because I think honestly, I think the government just has they already have that technology. We think it's going to be in the future. That's already out, man. They just have it in a warehouse somewhere and they're waiting to release it. Well, if they all release that right now, then everybody's going to be I have hoverboards and iPhones that are connected to my fingers. What do I do with this technology? The brains are going to explode.
And you also think about, if we have aircraft that are able to literally defy the laws of physics, the current laws of physics we have now, whoever has that technology wins the war. I mean, we're kind of in a Cold War right now with Russia and China, if you think about it. There's proxy wars going on in Syria and Ukraine. That's just some food for thought right there. But if whoever has this technology will win. And there won't, we'll have a giant force field around our naval fleets. We'll have our aircraft that are able to fly 5,000 miles per hour and, do twists and turns and stuff like that. So, whoever has this technology is going to keep it secret,
Yeah.
And you think about defense budget. They won't have the money to spend on the defense budget. So a lot of it's, economical and political and,
spooky stuff. It's all behind a curtain.
It's all
not
behind
open to the public eye.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think I do have to do PSAs here, so I'm just gonna plop down a 1:30 long one, then I'll hop into promos after that. Okay, we'll be right back on. Thank you.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon. Steven, What is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Boy, this sound really burns me up. It's the sound of a
Boy.
fire started by an arsonist.
That was your PSA for the evening. You are listening to 88.7 WXJM Harrisonburg on your FM dial. Thank you for tuning in. You are currently on LeeTV. Got around half an hour left. I'm joined with my boy,
Hello again,
brother in arms, Peter Bell.
brother.
So I'm just gonna hop into promos real fast. Get these going here. Thursday, September 19th at Ize Agrize. This is gonna be at 9:30 to 12:30. This is tonight. What? Okay. Whoa.
already.
Okay. Whoa.
Partay.
Got plans to do after this. We have TiVo, Coach Control, and Sagittarius Rucker playing at Easy tonight at 9:30. Come on out, be cool. Saturday, 4/21. This is at Crayola.
Ooh.
We have Fun Isn't Fair, Cyber Twin, Miss Angel Bird, and Wine Teeth. That'll be a cool show.
That will be very cool.
Cyber Twin,
I'm very excited
I love
for that.
you. Sunday, 9/22. We have, this is going to be at the Golden Pony. We have Curse, Ships in the Night, and Buck Gooter. It's going to be Sunday at Golden Pony. And Thursday, 9/26 at the Pony as well. We have Minor Poet, Sammy Lazetta, and Shagoof. Hopefully I spelled those right, or said them right. I'm sorry if I didn't. And then Thursday, 9/26, this is at Easy Greasy. We have Shunikin, Lobby Boy, Bees, and Sasha. Gonna be jamming out at Easy 9/26 Thursday. All right, those are the promos, man.
Sounds like fun.
Those are the promies right there. You know, you can do you want to talk about the weather?
The weather.
What's the weather been like, man?
Man, the weather's been,
Let me whip it out because I do have to actually do this. It was just going to be a topic, but no, I think I literally have to talk about the weather.
weather's been kind of patchy lately. It's been really hot.
Dude, I'm
And
just
I don't like
waiting-
it for September.
Dude, no, when it gets cold, I'm
I mean, we're
gonna be
really
like
talking
that,
about the
man.
weather right now.
We really do be. It's kind of fresh, though. It's kind of... Okay, Harrisonburg, right now, currently on Thursday, it is 64 degrees.
Ooh, crispy.
Friday, it's going to be sunny. You're going to be reaching highs of 79 degrees. It's pretty good. Saturday, partly cloudy, 83 degrees. Sunday is going to be sunny at 87 degrees. It's going to be the high in your week. And then Monday, we got 82 degrees, and it's going to be sunny, cloudy. Tuesday, 77 degrees, sunny. Wednesday, 80 degrees, sunny, cloudy. And Thursday, 85, and it's going to be a little bit sunny.
All right.
So
All
looking
right,
pretty
all right.
good. all right. That is looking good. Uh-oh. Touching something I shouldn't be touching. Okay, here we go. We're jamming, bro. We're jamming.
We're jamming.
We're vibing.
We're
right
in
now.
it.
We're
So, Lee.
vibing. Oh, yeah, Peter, what's up?
So, I mean, we're on the topic of aliens.
Oh, yes.
Tomorrow's the big day.
Tomorrow is the biggest day.
The biggest day in history.
Are we going to that? Like, I bought my ticket, bro. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down.
got my
I'm
Vegas.
down to
I'm
get a
literally
shot.
leaving
That's
tonight.
cool. That
Dude,
sounds
let's
like
go.
fun.
Let's go.
No, so what
JMU Alien 51 raid. Let's make the club right now. Let's go, dude.
last minute.
Literally the last day.
All right. So, I mean, what led you to the conclusion of your beliefs that
And
aliens exist?
well, so my dad is really big into my dad is like a big deadhead, toured Dead for like 20 years. He gave me this book about the flower of life, and it basically, like, I was reading it and it told me a lot. Like, in the back of my mind I was like, yeah, this is BS, man. Like, I don't believe any of this is like just hippie fairy tales.
What's the book about exactly?
It goes over a lot.
Does
But
it talk about aliens?
Yes, it talks about it, like aliens, quote unquote. So they say aliens came down like really early during the start of civilization, and actually didn't give any information to humans, but to dolphins. And the dolphins actually talked, like, in these ancient things that you can see in pyramids, like, literally all over. You see this one figure of a fish, like, poking his head out and spitting out water. That's supposed to be the dolphins reaching their head out and, like, communicating to humans how they found out all this crazy technology. And the one thing that really got me to believe this was there's this ancient tribe in Africa, and they had this map of the universe, and it shows the sun, and it shows Earth, and it shows the moon, and it has a picture of a present day a map of the universe, and it's basically like perfectly aligned with the same picture almost.
And this book was made a while ago.
This is like 20,000 years and whatnot back in the day, and like that picture right there, I was like, okay, no way could they believe that. They like haven't even figured out fire. How could they figure out? No, they probably figured out fire. What am I talking? But
well, if they wrote a book, they
wrote a
obviously
book,
figured
yeah.
out fire. They had paper, and that's interesting. You'll have to let me see that, because
it's called the flower of life.
So did it kind of blossom from there? You kind of were looking more into the topic and
So I've kind of always been fascinated sort of like by extraterrestrial life, and there's a lot of humans see it a lot of different ways, man. Everybody has their own sort of view on that. And I do believe there's extraterrestrial life out there, and I believe they have already visited Earth, but I don't believe we're going to see them anytime soon, or unless they want us to, unless it's about time.
Yeah, no, I'd say I agree with you to an extent. I believe that, there are intelligent lives out in the universe, and I do believe that there could, by thinking, beyond a reasonable doubt, that, there probably is a civilization that is more advanced with us and has mastered the art of, intergalactic travel.
Mm-hmm.
And is able to travel to our planet. Obviously, since their technology is so much more advanced than us, and they know that we're a very hostile species. We're prone,
primitive. We're very primitive.
Very primitive.
Still.
The fact that we still, lose our marbles over, other countries and other beliefs, and
we still got a while to go before they'll be
we do.
Okay, these guys are cool.
The fact that we're still talking about testing intercontinental ballistic missiles is completely ridiculous to me.
But it's cool though. It's cool though.
It is cool until one's coming down on your head and annihilating your entire city. But I will say I have seen UFOs before.
Really?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Just gonna go ahead and plop that down. Okay.
Plop that down on the table. I don't know if you have. Have you?
I haven't really had like an experience where that blew my mind, that I was like, yeah, that was a UFO, and completely changed my
I'm saying
feeling.
UFO as an unidentified flying object. And by the way, that term has changed according to the U.S. government.
Really?
It's unidentified aerial phenomena.
Oh.
It's not UFO anymore. So it's a UAP instead of a UFO.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's cool.
The government actually came out. So in 2004, there was a F-18 Super Hornet that was tracking an object that was traveling, I think, at around 5,000 miles per hour.
Ooh,
and that video was released.
Speedy boy.
That video was released, and the Navy's Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Information Warfare came out and said those videos should not have been released, and we did not intend to release those. And there was a whole debacle over this whole video that was released, and people said, is this real? And then eventually they came out and said, yes. Actually, I think a couple days ago, came out and said, this is real.
Whoa.
And we don't know what it is. And it was a solid craft that was literally defying the laws of physics. So our own government, the United States Navy, admitted that something is happening, and they don't know what it is. So that's exciting for us UFO believers out there.
Have you ever... Operation Paperclip, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course
that's
I know Operation
that's
Paperclip.
like
Project
that's the
Blue
thing
Book?
that made me be like, oh, dude, wow, they really done did that to us.
They really done.
Did that to the American people.
They did do that, and you've heard of Operation Blue Book as well, right?
Is that the one where they took a bunch of the Nazi scientists and no, that was Paperclip.
That was Paperclip.
Right? Yeah.
That was
What's
Paperclip.
Blue Book?
Blue Book was basically the the CIA and the other investigators were investigating, people who claimed to have saw extraterrestrial phenomena like UFOs and alien sightings and things like that. And you get, like the Flatwoods Monster, if you've ever heard of that, the Betty and Barney Hill case, Travis Walton. Travis Walton is a fantastic story. I could talk about that for hours.
Okay, wait. You just made me want to bring this up again. Star Child.
Star Child. Stan Romanek.
Okay, this guy's cool. They also have a Netflix documentary on Star Child as well.
So here's my thing with Stan Romanek. I don't know what's your opinion on Stan Romanek?
I think he's kind of crazy, but just like the stuff he puts out is like, it's kind of, I don't know whether to believe him or just like, I don't know, man.
I mean, for those of you who don't know who Stan Romanek is, he's probably one of the most famous quote unquote alien abductees. He claimed that he actually supposedly has physical and physical as in he claimed to have received implants which were surgically removed and then confiscated. He got video of one of the most famous videos of the alien peeking its head up from the edge of the window.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I think it's a bunch of malarkey.
I think
personally.
that is kind of weird. Yeah, he just has so much stuff associated around that. Like, it's hard to believe him.
And while he does have some video that has been, it's been analyzed by video analysts and said, okay, this was not fabricated, it was not edited, it was not post-processed in any way. This is legit. We don't know what it is. I think that something did happen to Stan Romanek that was unexplained, and he immediately associated it with extraterrestrials and then started fabricating all these stories.
Self-fulfilled prophecy.
He's yeah, exactly. And while I do believe there is some truth to his story, there is some, I doubt a lot of his experiences, because there's some videos like the one of the alien in his living room, like you can see this thing like in his house and then the camera cuts out. It looks like a really cheesy.
It's funny.
He's like, he comes on in an interview and he's like, oh, like people thought it was a puppet. And it was like, it was a puppet, dude. Like no one's going to actually get that footage. I'm not going to go ahead and call him a liar because I wasn't there and, blah, blah, blah. But to me, it seems like, a bunch of BS. But, no, he's definitely an interesting individual, to say the least.
Yo, what did you eat for breakfast this morning?
What did I eat for breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't think I ate breakfast. Oh wait, no.
Yo, eat breakfast, Peter. What?
I had a Nature Valley bar.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Just a Nature.
Just a Nature Valley bar, and then I went to D Hall.
Nice.
I got some. What did I eat? I can't even remember what I ate. I can't remember anything. My memory's been a little foggy.
Yeah, dude, I don't like remembering stuff. It's weird.
I don't either.
I had water and a just dry ramen today. I ran out of Hot Pockets in my house.
Oh, excellent.
I've been thriving off of Hot Pockets.
The cornerstone of any balanced breakfast.
A dried ramen.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, Stan Romanek, total kook. But I mean, I could, if you want me to talk about Travis Walton, I totally can.
Let's talk about alien abductions.
Yeah,
okay.
Dude, cool. Travis Walton is probably the most famous alien abduction story in history.
Okay, so did he get anal probed? Or is that only
he didn't claim he did.
Is that a South Park thing?
I think that's a South Park thing. There have been abductees that claim they have.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But because then that's what everyone knows, the kooky alien abductee.
Yeah, that's like the original.
That's the the crazy
vanilla
farmer. The UFO landed on his farm. Blah blah blah. But Travis Walton to me is one of the most compelling. If you haven't seen the movie Fire in the Sky,
you ever seen Signs?
Of course I've seen Signs. That movie scarred me as a child.
Really?
Yeah, because I was terrified of aliens.
Scared
and then
of Mel Gibson?
And then scared of Mel Gibson's.
Mel Gibby.
Joaquin Phoenix's hair lip.
A little scary.
No, but
Joaquin Phoenix.
Travis Walton is an interesting individual. He was a logger in I can't even remember where it was. I believe it was Colorado. And he was on a logging contract, and he was with a bunch of his friends. And on his way home from one of his work days, they saw a big, bright red orb just hovering in the woods.
Phoenix Lights.
It's like it's different from the Phoenix Lights, because this thing was actually in the woods. And it was literally just like stationary in the woods, and it was emitting a lot of this red heat. And they thought it was a plane crash, so they were going to go try to see what exactly this thing was. So they drove up to it, and they said it was this large red disc just floating in the middle of this field. And they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
They literally were in such shock.
Yeah, what do you do in, like, a situation
The
like that?
genius, Travis Walton, who's the protagonist in this story.
Okay.
This is not fiction, by the way. This actually, this is what they claimed happened. Got out of the truck, walked up to this craft, and it shined a beam of light down on him, picked him up, and threw him like 15 feet in the opposite direction.
Whoa.
And his friends were so distraught they drove away.
Oh my God.
And after they realized, we just left Travis. We left Travis out to die. They drove back, completely gone,
He was
and the craft
gone.
was gone.
Wow.
There was it was a nationwide search for Travis. This was in the 1970s, by the way.
Okay.
This was like on national television that these guys were claiming that their friend was abducted by aliens. And they immediately thought that his friends killed him and hid his body somewhere in the woods. So they sent out a massive search party. They had helicopters. They had, like NBC and CBS come out and cover this entire story. And a week later, Travis turns up at a gas station he was completely naked, and he had cuts along his eyes. He was completely distraught, and he claims that he was abducted by extraterrestrials and that his friends were telling the truth. So
does he have any memory of actually
yeah.
being
Well,
in the craft?
after the event, he was so like he couldn't remember anything. He didn't know where he was for a week, and apparently he went without food or water for a week.
Oh.
Like he didn't drink any
You
water.
can't do that. You can't do that.
He claimed he did, and he doesn't remember drinking water. But he came out, and then eventually over time he said, okay, yeah, I did see this craft with my friends. It shined a beam of light on me. The next thing I remember, I woke up on a table, and there were these beings that were doing tests on me, and I was able to get up and walk around the craft. And he said he sat down in a chair and looked up at the ceiling, and it was like a constellation of like all the stars and where they were traveling and stuff like that. And that they took him back, and they kept experimenting on him. And
What kind of experiments? Just like touching him?
I think it was just like, they're poking and prodding at him and injecting him with. I don't know the details, but he goes to like UFO cons and stuff like that, and occasionally and talks about.
I would love to go to one of those.
Yeah, Fire in the Sky is like totally embellished. It's not accurate as to what, because after he said is very Hollywood. It's not anything like, obviously like the story about the news coverage and all the media coverage and stuff like that. He said was pretty accurate to his knowledge, but the actual event of it happening was like totally Hollywood, and like it looked like a scene from the Alien movie, with a.
Oh yeah, wait, what's that movie? Where they play the keyboard.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah,
That's a fantastic
that's
movie.
a cool one.
It's an awesome movie.
War of the Worlds. Close Encounters.
War of the
Third
Worlds.
Kind.
Signs is a movie I could.
Yeah, wait, let's just start naming like great alien movies.
Aliens, obviously.
The whole Alien.
Have you seen Invasion of the
whole
Body
Alien
Snatchers?
Yo, Body Snatchers is cool.
That movie is like one of those movies that actually really freaks me out. It's
Seems
very bleak, and like it's just scary. It's one of those movies that actually is scary because it's just this guy that's alone in the city while hundreds of thousands of these aliens that were taken, that took over these people's minds, or he's just chasing this guy, and it's just so like it's one of those movies that does actually still kind of freak me out to this day, and so does Signs, obviously.
Predator.
Predator.
That's not
Predator's
really
a great
that's
movie.
like a fiction, but
Predator's fiction, obviously. And while Predator might seem to be Hollywood, you can kind of tell that they did put a little thought into the plot. Obviously, it's an action. It's, Arnold Schwarzenegger with his giant muscles out with big machine guns, and it's tailored towards you don't have to be the smartest individual to understand the plot of the film, but there are some nice I wouldn't call them literary devices, but things like that.
So I was walking downtown, and
Clowning around downtown.
and I met a fish.
Really? What did this fish do? What did
I'm sorry,
this?
I'm just trying to talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
Peter,
yeah.
favorite game, favorite video game.
Favorite video game. Ooh.
Yo, wait, Alien video game. What's the new one? Or they're remastering.
Destroy All Humans.
Yo, Destroy All Humans.
I have
That game is
Destroy All Humans
insane.
was one of the first games I really, really got into.
Me too, dude. That Destroy All Humans on the
Crypto.
PS PlayStation.
Oh
Oh, man.
such a good game. I
I'm
have so many good
happy
memories.
they're remaking that.
I thought everyone just completely forgot about that game.
I thought that wasn't gonna come
I
back at all.
thought you were the only other person that actually played that game besides like me and Jack Keppel.
Yeah.
Cause like,
Jack Keppel's a cool.
oh my god, I have so many good memories with just playing that. Like and Destroy All Humans 2 came out and they had a split screen. Such a good game. No, did you ever play Alien Isolation with Whitley Strieber?
No, I wanted to though.
It was. I played a little
Spooky?
bit of it on. I think I played it on Xbox at a friend's house. It was.
I heard the AI for the aliens a little wonky.
Yeah, it was. It was a little buggy at times. I think they launched some patches for it and stuff like that. But it's a great game.
Epic game.
Favorite Alien game though. There's not a lot of Alien games out. I
Yeah.
mean, there's like XCOM.
XCOM is I
It's an
guess
RTS
alien
though.
one.
I have pretty much just Destroy All Humans. And then there was did you ever play the Alien versus Predator game?
Yeah,
And you could play
I love that
you
one.
could play as the
Dude.
alien, you could play as the Colonial Marines, or you could play as the Predator.
I did a whole YouTube playthrough when I was in elementary school on that game.
I
one of
remember
the
I had it on
first
Xbox
playthroughs I did.
360.
Oh god, looking back at those videos now, it's just like, dude, what were you doing?
I have seen said
What were
YouTube
you
channel
doing?
and it
You
is
have,
quite legendary.
yeah, it is. So I'm so glad I didn't delete any of my videos.
You have to
'cause
keep those, and we're gonna watch them in the next.
I'm gonna
20
watch
years.
them when I'm in like 40, and I'll just be like,
We'll be like,
nice.
wow,
That's
that's pretty
whoa.
awesome. I was cool back
That
then.
was pretty cool, dude. I was just like PewDiePie.
What was what was your favorite just all time video game from your childhood?
Minecraft.
Was it-
No,
Was it Minecraft?
dude, I've got a lot. Halo is what really got me into the
Yeah.
video game scene.
Did
My
you start with
cousin-
Halo 1?
Start with Halo 3.
Halo 3. I started
Yeah.
with Halo 2 on the original Xbox and
Halo
Halo
2 's
3 with the
good.
Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite game of I remember I got it.
Star
This
Citizen.
is a funny game. This is not a funny game, a funny story. Do you ever heard of World in Conflict?
No.
This is what kind of inspired my passion for Cold War conflicts and why I made Escalation 1985, but it's called World in Conflict and it's 1980. It's an RTS, a real-time strategy game.
Yeah.
It's set in 1989 and like my game, the Soviet Union and NATO or Warsaw Pact and NATO end up clashing in Germany, and then it spreads out to the rest of the world and there's nuclear weapons and stuff, and that's what
So is it like a RTS of Escalation 85?
basically, and that's what inspired a lot of the developers who wanted to actually work on this game.
Cool.
And it's there's this little story behind it too, like with like different characters, good character dynamic, awesome soundtrack and stuff like that. It's a great game. And then obviously Halo, and I played the Call of Duties, Battlefield.
I love Battlefield.
Battlefield's excellent. Well, what did you think of? Did you play Battlefield 5?
No. I played. Wait. No.
The
I
World War
haven't.
II one. You
Yeah,
played
I haven't.
Battlefield 1. I remember playing
played-
Battlefield 1 with you.
Yeah, I was
Battlefield
really
1
hyped
was
for
the
that.
World War 1 Battlefield, and then World War 2 was Battlefield 5, and it completely tanked. It was
Really?
It got Battlefield 5 has just gone down.
They
the
had
drain.
like a battle royale.
They
to it.
did. They added
Okay.
what is
That
called
makes sense.
Firestorm, and they added helicopters in
Dude,
a
wait.
World War II game.
That's
It's just-
kind of epic, though.
it's kind of ridiculous.
Helicopters in Battlefield.
It's called the Calibri, and it was like an
It's
experimental
crazy.
German helicopter that was never used ever, but they
Uh.
put it in a World War II game. And a lot of AAA companies, there's a lot of politics involved. Obviously, they have to be, There's definitely not I don't have a problem with exclusivity, but like with games set in a time period where there were certain people having certain roles, you have to it's gonna make a lot of people angry if you're putting people who weren't in that situation in that. So it's kind of but no, the new Call of Duty I think it's coming out this weekend. They're completely redoing they're adding vehicles. There's 32v32 players.
Weird.
I know. And a Call of
Weird.
Duty game. When has there ever been a Call of Duty game with 32 versus 32 players?
I don't know, because there is.
Or even tanks.
One.
When's the last time there were tanks?
World at War.
World at War.
Yeah,
World at War was the last Call of Duty where there were tanks and multiplayer.
that's epic.
I know.
World at War was something else, man.
Do you remember playing the Nazi zombies for the first time in World at War?
in World at War, I cried. I think I was really scared.
I was terrified. That was a horrifying game.
But it was a classic. It was hard,
Absolute
too.
classic. It was really hard. It was very
fun.
hard. and Nocturne und Totten. Remember Zombie Verrückt, Shiner
Rock,
Numa,
yeah.
Darius, all the good maps.
Bringing me back, Peter. You're bringing
I'm bringing back the memories. I still have my Xbox 360. I will bring the Xbox 360, and I
Tears
will
to my
bring
eyes.
Call of Duty World at War.
Please.
I will never not play that game and never not enjoy it. But I just bought the new Call of Duty, so hopefully I'll.
Oh well, you did buy the new one. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, okay. New topic. I want to get a tattoo, but I don't know.
You're
I
going
don't
to
know
Alley
what-
Cat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a tattoo at Alley Cat last year around this time. It's been a year, and obviously the tattoo involves aliens, of course.
Okay. Yeah. Of course.
It's from the
Yeah. How do we not bring this up, dude?
I don't
You
think we have
straight
time.
a tattoo.
I have a.
Yeah, we have like 5 minutes left.
We do have 5
It's cool.
minutes.
It's like whatever. It's like
It's
go
about the
on forever,
Rendlesham Air
man.
Force Base UFO incident, which was basically a UFO was seen on this Air Force base by Air Force personnel, and one of the base security forces claimed to see this craft, and he drew down a bunch of symbols he saw on the side of the craft, and one of the symbols was the tattoo that I have on my chest. And the story always kind of freaked me out when I was little, so I was like, I should get a tattoo of this. Like, that'd be kind of cool.
What do you think now, looking back? Do you think it's a good idea to get tattooed? Like,
If
right above
you're
your-
really set in stone, I mean,
That's the
tattoos are
thing, I don't
becoming
know what to
increasingly
get.
more popular, and
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you're gonna regret getting that." I don't think I'm gonna regret it because it's
Plus,
this-
you could always just cover it up.
it wasn't.
Like,
I've always wanted to get this tattoo in particular because I've always been fascinated with this story, and it's not anywhere where I can see it when I have a shirt on, so it doesn't bother me. If I do get tattoos in the future, inevitably I will. It's gonna be under places that you can't see.
Yeah, I want to do it
Yeah.
on my arm, right? Like
Under your
right
arm. What are you gonna
under
get?
my arm. Under my arm. That's the thing. I want people to decide for me.
You want people to decide for.
Yeah,
What
I don't-
if I drew
I
you a
feel like-
design?
If you drew me a design and I liked it, I would do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's like anybody can do this too. Like,
Yeah.
you just draw something and I like it, I'll just put it on me
Yeah.
and permanently.
I mean, what do you want? Something
I will
music
pay
related?
pay
Do you
you.
want something like?
Literally anything you think.
I
what
do have
is
a friend in
cool,
Russia. She
that looks like
is a very, very
personality
talented
of me.
artist, and she'll draw you anything.
Really?
She'll draw you like an abstract design.
I will pay her.
If she'd
Some
probably,
fun
she's a good
dollars.
friend of mine. I'm sure she'd do it for free. Honestly,
I have an offshore bank account in Zimbabwe that has like $3,000 in Zimbabwe fund dollars.
that's
And
like
I can
that's
siphon
like
her
a
some money.
fraction of a penny.
No, yeah, it was
That's
like
like a- that's like a-
$2 US, but
It's 3,000 Zimbabwe dollars.
3,000 Zimbabwe
isn't
fund
three,
dollars.
3 trillion Zimbabwe dollars is like
It's like
less than a dollar. It's like less than an American dollar. It's
no way.
Yeah.
No way.
yeah. I swear,
I
Reggie,
refuse to
my
believe
roommate,
that.
has a $3 trillion Zimbabwe bill.
How
If you
many-
don't know how that whole started, I
Could we just go to Zimbabwe and like
if
buy
you
a
brought, you could
mansion?
buy. I don't even know if you can spend American dollar. Robert Mugabe with the whole Rhodesian Bush War.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing, man. That's a whole nother
The economy
topic.
is a bit of a catastrophe right now, and that's why their currency is so inflated. Because Mugabe thought printing money would be a good idea to save the economy, and obviously it didn't. But I think those things happen. It happened in
I think we should move away from paper currency and go back to
Bitcoin.
yeah, Bitcoin. Everything actually, Bitcoin is the future, dude. I invested $50 in a Bitcoin and I made $53. I made $3.
Really?
Yeah.
How long
Isn't
did
that
that take?
crazy? Like a year,
My brother invested I think it was like 1,000 in
No, it's
Ethereum,
couple
and I
months.
think it grew a little bit.
Ethereum, yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I put like $4.20.
It's going up and down. It's fluctuating pretty drastically. It's
6.9
like,
cents.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. So we've got like maybe a minute left. I don't want to leave. I love you guys too much, but
I love you guys too.
it's inevitable. We have some other people in the station here about to take our seat and do their TV station thing. So let's do a little closer.
Lee,
well-
thank you so much for having me. I feel honored
Peter,
to be on
Thank you for
the,
coming
on the radio broadcast.
on LeeTV, episode 3. What did we go over? We went through
Aliens,
aliens.
video games,
That was a big one. Video games. Bob Laser.
Bob Lazar.
Lazar.
Everyone calls him Bob Laser.
Laser. I mean, I would love to be called Laser.
My last
dude.
name was Laser. It'd be awesome.
And then we talked about Russian synth pop.
Yeah.
We talked about aliens and movies.
Pretty good.
That's
I'd say
good.
pretty good
That's
talk.
Pretty good.
Pretty good
That's
talk, brother.
Pretty good. What do you want to say anything to the people out there?
Stay cool. Stay weird.
Stay weird.
Break the rules. Not too many rules. Go to bed on time. Get a good night's sleep. Get a good breakfast. Go for a run.
Yeah.
But be
Be
weird.
productive.
Don't be normal.
Wave your freak flag high.
Very high. Higher than you could possibly imagine.
But don't be too weird.
Don't be
'cause
too
then
weird.
You're just that.
You're just that guy.
You're just that person. It's just
Get along with people.
But you
love your peers.
be a little weird. It's cool.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.